The historic strike of U.S. dock workers. A look at the issues and impacts. In a significant event that has rippled through the U.S. economy, 45,000 dock workers from 36 ports across the nation staged their first strike since 1977. These ports, vital nodes in the global supply chain, handle trillions of dollars in trade each year, making their operations crucial to industries ranging from manufacturing to retail. The strike, initiated at midnight on Monday, has paralyzed ports from New England to the Gulf Coast, raising concerns about inflation, jobs, and upcoming elections. The strike has sparked debates on both sides, with accusations flying that the workers' demands are opportunistic, targeting the most vulnerable sectors of the economy just before a major election. Critics point out that dock workers, already earning well above the national average, may be pushing their demands too far. But to fully understand the motivations and stakes in this strike, let's delve into why the workers are protesting and what could happen next. The core of the conflict: fair wages and automation. The current dispute centers on the negotiations between the International Longshoremen's Association, which represents dock workers, and the U.S. Maritime Alliance, which negotiates on behalf of the ports. The ILA is calling for wage increases and, more controversially, a halt to the growing use of automation at ports. The Maritime Alliance argues that these demands are excessive, especially in light of the already high salaries dock workers earn. According to reports, the union's demands include a 77% wage increase over the next 6 years and a complete ban on automation. While wage hikes are a typical part of renegotiations, the sheer size of this proposed increase has raised eyebrows. Currently, experienced dock workers earn around $39 per hour, which translates to an annual salary of approximately $81,000. However, this figure doesn't account for overtime, which can be plentiful. According to a 2020 report by the Waterfront Commission, some workers earn as much as $200,000 annually due to overtime. The union, however, defends its stance by stating that the proposed pay rise would be incremental, about 9% annually, spread over 6 years. Union President Harold Daggett emphasized that the increase is merely to keep pace with rising inflation. Even though such a raise might seem large compared to what many in other sectors receive, the union argues that this is just the opening offer. Dock workers have a tough, demanding job, often requiring overtime. Some economic experts have even pointed out that if wages had kept up with productivity over the past few decades, the earnings of these workers wouldn't seem so extraordinary. The automation debate. A fight for the future of jobs. Beyond wages, the most contentious issue is the use of automation. The union's demand for a complete ban on automation stems from fears that technology will replace human jobs. Many American ports already lag behind their Asian and European counterparts in terms of automation. Modern technologies can drastically reduce the time and manpower needed to unload ships, which means higher profits for shipping companies and faster cargo turnover. Automation at foreign ports has increased efficiency by reducing the need for manual labor. For example, tasks that require 20 workers at a U.S. port can often be handled by a few automated machines overseas. The U.S. Maritime Alliance sees automation as a necessary step to stay competitive in the global economy, while the union argues that unchecked automation would decimate jobs in a sector where workers are already under pressure. The U.S. labor market is one of the strongest globally, and American workers earn significantly more than their counterparts in Europe or Asia. This is partly due to the ILA's strong negotiating power, which has consistently secured good pay and working conditions. However, resistance to automation means U.S. ports are less efficient, which costs companies money and time. Ships must stay docked longer, and the additional labor costs add to the price of goods. As dock workers fight to protect their jobs, experts warn that if the situation worsens, some companies might begin shipping their goods through ports in Mexico or Canada, bypassing the U.S. ports altogether. These goods would then enter the U.S. via rail or trucks, effectively circumventing the union and potentially threatening the long-term job security of the very workers who are striking. The stakes in this dispute are high for both sides. For the dock workers, this is about more than just pay. It's about the future of their jobs. They view automation as a serious threat that could lead to massive layoffs. The fear is compounded by advances in artificial intelligence and robotics, which have the potential to disrupt labor markets in ways we haven't seen before. On the other hand, the U.S. Maritime Alliance is under pressure to modernize. American ports have long been criticized for inefficiency compared to their foreign counterparts. If U.S. ports fail to adopt automation, they risk becoming too costly and slow, pushing companies to seek alternatives. For the shipping industry, automation is seen as inevitable, a way to reduce costs and stay competitive globally. Negotiations have been tense, with the union already rejecting a compromise offer of a 50% wage increase over the same period. This suggests that the eventual wage increase will fall somewhere between the 50% and 77% figures. However, with both sides entrenched in their positions on automation, it's unclear how either party will back down without a significant compromise. The strike comes at a precarious time for the U.S. economy, as supply chain disruptions could have wide-ranging impacts on consumers, manufacturers, and election dynamics. The ports affected by the strike handle approximately $5 billion worth of cargo daily, and they serve as critical gateways for almost all goods entering the U.S. by ship, which remains the cheapest form of international freight. If the strike continues for an extended period, prices on consumer goods could rise again, undoing recent progress in the fight against inflation. This is especially concerning given the upcoming holiday shopping season, when demand for goods typically peaks. While many companies anticipated the strike and stockpiled goods, prolonged disruptions will eventually catch up, particularly in industries that rely on just-in-time manufacturing. Manufacturers are also feeling the pressure, as many rely on a steady flow of imported parts. The automotive industry, in particular, could be hard hit. Though the U.S. produces millions of cars annually, many components are sourced from abroad, and supply chain issues could lead to delays, price hikes, or even temporary plant closures. Some food items might also see price increases. While most staple foods are domestically produced, the American Farm Bureau notes that about 76% of the nation's bananas come through these ports, meaning prices for imported perishables could soar if the strike drags on. The timing of the strike, coming just weeks before a major election, adds another layer of complexity. The White House, under pressure to mediate a settlement, must walk a fine line. The 1947 Taft-Hartley Act allows the president to order striking workers back to work if their actions pose a threat to national security, which could apply here due to the strategic importance of the ports. However, such a move would anger unions and undermine the administration's pro-worker stance, a key part of their platform. Critics argue that the union is exploiting the timing of the strike to secure favorable terms, knowing that the White House may be reluctant to intervene so close to an election. On the other hand, labor advocates say this is a necessary step to protect workers' rights in an era of increasing corporate power and automation. Meanwhile, the strike could have longer-term global implications. If American ports remain inefficient, international companies might begin favoring more automated and cost-effective ports elsewhere, reducing the U.S.'s role in global trade. At the heart of this conflict is a fundamental question about the future of work. As automation technology advances, more industries will face similar dilemmas. The Hollywood writers' strike earlier this year revolved around AI's role in content creation, and the dock workers' strike is yet another example of how technology is reshaping labor markets. While automation can lead to greater efficiency and profits for companies, it also threatens to replace jobs, particularly in industries that have historically provided good wages for manual labor. For unions, this presents an existential threat. If workers can be replaced by machines, what leverage do they have in negotiations? Some argue that refusing automation is short-sighted, as it's inevitable. Others believe that workers have every right to resist technologies that could destroy their livelihoods. The resolution of this strike could set a precedent for future labor disputes in the age of automation. As the strike drags on, the economic and political implications will continue to unfold. For now, it's a standoff between two powerful forces: dock workers fighting to protect their jobs and wages, and shipping companies pushing for modernization and efficiency. Whichever way the negotiations go, the impact will be felt far beyond the ports, affecting consumers, businesses, and potentially the outcome of the upcoming election. The resolution of this strike will likely shape the future of labor relations in industries facing automation, setting the stage for further debates on the balance between technological progress and job security. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more informative videos.